Hi everyone, it's Jeff with Home Repair Tutor, and today I'm going to share with you how to fix a drywall ceiling. So this ceiling has gone bad because water's infiltrated it. I just need to cut out a portion and replace it with some new 1/2-inch drywall. If you've got a similar problem at your house, then this video is for you. So stay tuned, I've got some great tips for you. We're going to fix your ceiling. First thing that you do is check to see what size drywall you need. Now typically it's going to be anywhere from a 1/2 inch to 5/8 of an inch. So what you want to do is cut a little hole. Take your measuring tape, stick it up through the hole, and just measure. All right, so once you get your drywall size, you want to just check by hand to see where does the drywall give in. Now, luckily, it's only a small section of my ceiling, all right? And I'm marking it with X's. So then what I'm going to do is go cut a piece of drywall to this depth and width, put it on the ceiling, measure that out, and then I cut out that section of my ceiling to fit the piece of drywall that I cut the size. What you need to do next is remove either the nails or the screws from the joist. Otherwise, they're going to get in the way of your new drywall. Now that this space is ready, I pre-drilled, actually sistered a 2x4 to the joist to give this new drywall board extra support. But then what I like to do when I'm all by myself is pre-drill drywall screws into the corners. And this helps out with the process. Now, sometimes you have to jam the board into place, and then you can secure the screws. The other thing that you should do is mark on the existing ceiling where the other joists are, okay? So this helps you screw the additional drywall screws in place. So now I'm going to show you how I mix up joint compound. So I use lightweight setting type joint compound, Easy Sand 45, primarily because it sets up rock hard and you can sand it within an hour, or supposedly within 45 minutes, but it depends on the temperature and the humidity. The first thing that I do is I pour some of the joint compound into my trough here, all right? And then I add water. The next thing I do is I use a traditional mixer that you would use to mix up a brownie mix. Nice and easy here, you don't want to mix it up too much because you'll get air bubbles in your joint compound and that will show through on your drywall. Bad news. So just mix it up enough to get a good consistency. Mix it more with your putty knife. Get rid of the lumps and the air bubbles. And when you're to the point whereby it just barely drops off or sticks to your putty knife, that's when you know you're done. With my joint compound mixed up, I'm going to use a 6-inch drywall knife. And what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of joint compound on either side of the joint. Now, as you can see here, this is huge. That gap is way too big. But what are you going to do? You know, these things happen. DIY isn't absolutely perfect. So what I did is I cut some regular screen that you'd put in a window screen. And this will bridge the gap perfectly. The reason why I put the joint compound up on the ceiling first is to get this to stick just long enough that I can reach back, grab my joint compound, smear it on like so. Then what I like to do is start at the middle, all right, and work my way to the ends. Again, the whole objective here is you just smooth out that screen enough that your second coating is going to look a lot better, all right? So I'm going to do this on all the seams that need to be covered for this patch in the ceiling. When you come up against a wall like this, it's a little bit trickier. You'll have to bend the screening at a 90-degree angle, okay? But all you do is fold it in half, create a crease the best that you can, all right? Fit the crease up in the crevice right here between the ceiling and the wall. Start in the center, smooth it to the ends. Center, smooth to the ends. Center, smooth to the ends. Now that the first coat is dry, you can take a 10-inch drywall knife and use that move out maybe 1, 2, 3 inches from the center, all right? Put more pressure on the outside edge, okay? Because you want a nice tapered look. So start here, work your way to the end, like that. Go on the other side of your joint and do the same thing, okay? You just keep doing that on this joint and this joint. And I would even wait to do this second one and this, or excuse me, this third one and this fourth one until these two longer joints are completely dry. All right, if you have any high spots on your wall or your ceiling, that is, you have some chunky drywall joint compound, just knock it down or scrape it off with a 6-inch knife. The reason you want to do that is because it'll eliminate extra sanding that you have to do, and you can also get a smoother finish with the next coat of joint compound. Because this is a ceiling and I need to add a texture to it, is I'm going to go over this whole 3-foot by 3-foot section with a 10-inch or a 12-inch knife to create a nice smooth look, and I'll show you that next. All right, so here's a 10-inch knife. What I'm going to do is start on this side, all right? Sometimes I'm a little bit messy. Hey, I'm not perfect, but I'm just going to go over this like so. All right, I want a nice even layer of joint compound on the ceiling, and I'll smooth it out when I'm done. I'll show you that. All right. So I do have a lot of groove marks here. What I'm just going to do is this. I'm going to go from one end to the other with a nice smooth stroke. Okay. Doesn't look too bad. You're going to be left with a few grooves here that you again can knock down and sand out smooth. All right, this is the final step in the process of prepping the ceiling. So what you want to do again is knock down any high spots. Knock down any high spots with your joint compound knife. The next thing you need to do is to sand down your area. Now, you can use sanding screens, you can use a pole sander, or you can do what I'm going to do and use a sanding sponge. Now, I like this because it's a little bit wet, all right? And what it does is it cuts down on the dust in your room. So if you've got allergies or asthma, this is a great option. Obviously, you should also be wearing a respirator, but for this, what I'm going to show you is that you want to sand in circles, okay? And by sanding in circles, what you'll do is taper in the wall, the existing wall that you have with the joint compound that you applied. So I'm going to do it on the ceiling here. So you just want to real lightly sand in circles, okay? So just like this, nice and easy. So blend in, especially on the edges here, blend in nice and easy using a circular motion. Now what I have here is a bucket of water. So if your sanding sponge gets gunked up, you just dip it in the water, squeeze it out, and have at it again, okay? There are many different ways to add texture to your ceiling. If you have a small section of your ceiling that you need to redo like I am, you can simply brush on the joint compound. You can brush it on or you can roll it on. I'm just going to brush it on. You brush it on to the whole section, then you can go back over it and create your pattern like I'm doing here. So you can do it that way, or you can roll it on and create your pattern with your brush. All right, that's how you fix a drywall ceiling. I hope that this video helped you out. For more tips and tricks on home improvement or home repair, visit me at homerepairtutor.com. When you're there, sign up for the email newsletter because you're going to get weekly tips on a lot of different projects that will help you out with your own house. So take care, and I'll see you soon.